Okay, 6:30, so let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please join us in 30 seconds of silence and mute your phones if you don't mind. Okay, thank you. So we have a really full agenda tonight. We're going to try to get through everything that we can. Let's just try to be efficient, do the round robin. Andrew, it's nice to see you here.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Nice to have you, as well as everyone else. I don't want to just point him out. Okay, so let's start with citizens communication. I don't think we have any citizens in the house. Okay. Consent items. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from December 13th?
I'll motion. Second.
Any discussion?
They look good to me.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Oh, I forgot to mention, Director Johnson will not be joining us tonight. He actually came down with COVID along with the majority of his family, as well as he has like a hangnail issue. So COVID's more important, but he's hurting more from the fingernail thing. And he's watching tonight, so right now he's probably throwing something at the TV. But he did give me permission to share that he has COVID, and he's really upset that he's not here, but he is watching. Okay, Blockhouse Owner Association, Ms. Martin.
Do you want this in front of me?
Yes, please, I'm sorry.
So I can lean on it. So we are gearing back up. We had our budget meeting early January, and we came up with a list of events that we're proposing for this year. We have one more that we're gonna talk about tomorrow at the board, so I don't wanna talk about it right now. But can we go ahead and ask y'all to approve? I understand it's in your packet.
Yeah, it's agenda item 28.
28-1.
Okay, so take a look at 28-1. Do you have a motion to approve? The one outstanding is the safety day? Okay, yeah. And I can mention that.
Oh, yeah.
We're working with Debbie Lovato to do a town hall with the sheriff's department, and Debbie, the OA would like to kind of partner with us and do some fun things, so we'll talk to you about that in the subcommittee. They got some ideas, and so I think we're gonna kind of make it a safety day.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, did everybody vote? Cecilia, did you vote?
I said aye.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, great, and then so, are we going to 4 or are we going?
We're going to 4 now.
Okay, Deputy Lovato.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
The only thing I really have for you guys is Riley's still out with his knee surgery. I informed Lisa about the lock that was broken. I still haven't been able to talk to Deputy Polk. I've been going back and forth texting, but apparently in his email, he said he locked the gates, and then when he went back to check Jamal Park, someone had popped the lock open. When he sent the pictures of it, it didn't really look like it was cut. Well, it didn't look like it was cut. It almost looked like the entire metal piece came out. But again, I haven't had a chance to talk to him to see if it was actually like forced open or the lock was just old and falling apart.
Was it the first gate or the second?
The second gate.
Oh, into where you get to the building.
No, I'm sorry, yes, the first gate. I always
Okay.
think of the first gate, the one that's right up the street that we leave open all the time now.
Okay.
But,
Would you send photos to Lisa when
I
you
have
get those?
I'll send those
Okay, okay, great.
When was
um,
that?
Thursday night, Friday night, I'd have to go back.
So
and
it's
look.
after the vandalism.
Oh, yeah. Other than that, that's it. And I did get your email, sorry I didn't get to respond.
No, it's fine.
March and on a weekend during the day actually probably would be the best.
Do you think that would work like a Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get a meeting here in the next couple of weeks, maybe the sheriff can come out, you,
I can
whoever.
yeah.
Yeah, Cordell is it Cordell?
Cradell.
He just retired, right?
Yep,
I
he
saw
sure
that.
did.
So are they gonna replace somebody to do the block watch program?
They have another person in there in community liaison. I
Okay.
don't know if they're gonna bring a second one in, but yeah, there's two of them in community liaison.
Okay, so maybe that person as well, but yeah, we'll talk about it more, but, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sandy, we're looking at March and, I mean, we could move it to April, March, April, I just don't wanna get too hot. We're gonna do it out at the pavilion.
I would actually say April would probably be better, just with
Okay.
the simple fact that, spring break is in March.
Good point. Okay, yeah, so let's work on some dates, but we wanna get that on the calendar.
Okay.
Awesome. Great.
I noticed you out on Black House Drive on the loop. Looked like it was speed trap or whatever at the Meritage intersection. Much appreciated.
I think some residents actually posted about that too. Yeah,
Hopefully that'll get people back down, help get people back down to the speed limit
Yeah,
or slower.
and stop running the stop sign at Creek Run too.
really?
Oh, they run it all the time over there.
Yeah.
That's why I like to sit out by the gates to see if I can catch them.
Oh, that's you. I'm stopping at the gate.
Good job, good job.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yep, 9 o'clock.
All right, okay, now we're going to,
Here's one thing I would like to ask him. So I saw in Lisa's report, that apparently there's some night disc golf going on. And there was, somebody said that the board gave them, a board member gave them permission, is that?
Yeah. But I already talked with Ursula about it, and she said she never gave them permission, that,
Okay.
you don't know why they're saying that, but, yeah, she said.
I think the confusion is we did a disc golf on a full moon and we talked about, even in the board meeting, having full moon like once a month.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just an issue now because it gets dark earlier, or they could play at 7 o'clock in the summer. So,
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Anything else?
thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good
evening.
Okay, we're gonna go to 28 too. Amanda's not here though.
That's what's not.
Okay, so it's Tuttle Wave swim team request for use of pool on March 2nd and 3rd for swim test. Do I have a motion to approve
With waiver of fees.
with waiver of fees? Motion to approve?
I'll motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 And now where are we going?
We're gonna go to amenities 5.
Okay.
Premier recreation.
All right, so Premier Recreation, Mark.
So we got approval, do does the swim team need guards for that event? On
For
the
swim test.
So we actually do have an item on the subcommittee agenda to discuss the lifeguards. We'll get with you to find out if Title H is gonna be covering that, or if that's something that the board would like to take care of. We'll stay in touch with you on that.
Not a problem, so just let me know the hours so I can get it scheduled.
We will.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
what does the contract say?
Right now, it does not cover it, but that's what we're looking at seeing. It's not on the
Okay.
agenda, but we'll discuss.
So yeah, I just wanted to make sure on that. Otherwise, the Patrick pool's running pretty smoothly. We did have the issue with the gas leak a couple of weeks ago. It was, I believe, a Thursday afternoon, right before the freeze, that the swim team called, said they smelled a gas leak, went out there. Well, I was taking my child to school, so I didn't get the message right away. As soon as I did get the message, I went out there, the fire department had already stopped by, said, yes, there's a gas leak, it's very minor, didn't shut us down at the time. But I did report it to Lisa, who said, let's go ahead and shut everything down, got the plumber out, got it repaired. It was up and running the next day. The heaters, unfortunately, still had a lot of air in the gas line, so we weren't able to get the pool back up to the temperature on that Saturday, and then Sunday it froze. So we closed Friday through Monday, 2 days for the gas leak, 2 days because of below freezing weather. Other than that, it's been a very smooth process. Been working on keeping the pools clean. We've been throwing that in as we can, and at Apache, it's not that big a deal because we're there all the time, so we're able to help out quite a bit. But here at Tomlin said, I've been coming by about once a week and just getting the leaves out. But over the past couple of weeks, it seems to have really gotten worse again. Looks like all the leaves have fallen, but I don't know. But I've been out here this week, just about every day, trying to get that back in shape and ready to go for you.
Great.
So we'll have a proposal for you next month on official cleaning services and having somebody do it almost on a daily basis.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Mhm.
So there was a major water leak, after the freeze?
Yes.
So was that on your watch?
It was inside the building. I thought that the plumbers were turning everything off, so I'm not sure what happened there. And then inside the equipment room, that's the Progressive, on the equipment side.
Okay.
But we did go by and check, and everything was great until the last day. The
Yes.
pumps were running, everything was working, just unfortunately.
No more cracks or no more?
Exactly.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Okay, Lisa, we're going on to.
Mark, while we have you, actually, I was
Yes.
gonna ask you, we do have a proposal on the table that actually I was wanting to just get your more expertise on it. It actually is over the allotted $25,000 amount, but it does cover, UV installation at Tumlinson Pool, and just kind of wanted to get a little bit of your expertise on that item, and if that was something we needed to bring back with a couple of more proposals, we could definitely do that, but just really wanted to get your expertise in that regard of why Pro Aquatics would be recommending us add.
So for the board, it's 10D,
So,
or
part
10,
Yeah,
part of the-
10D.
on a standalone splash pad, I know it's required to have secondary sanitation. And the reason for that is the pool of water on a standalone splash pad is so minimal that it can't filter out as quickly, and you need a secondary sanitation to oxidize germs and everything else that go into the pool. I need to do some more research. I don't believe it's required when the splash pad, when the splash components are part of a larger body of water, which yours absolutely is. And in reality, UV is sunlight. You're getting that pool is full of UV every day.
Good.
I would look at possibly an ozone at some point later on. That's a different process to sanitize, but your pool's remaining very clean. I wouldn't worry about it unless it's required by health code, and I can definitely look into that over the next couple weeks for you.
That could certainly save us a lot of money.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
You're not leaving though, are you?
No, I'm not. I'll stick
Okay.
around for a while.
That's the only thing what I recommend is if we could go ahead and table, item 10D,
Sure.
and then bring that back at a later date, once we
Okay.
have a little bit more information on it.
Yeah.
And then also with a few more
It's in the
proposals to make sure that we're in line.
Okay, good deal. All right, can we go on to?
Yes, we're going to 6.
Right, okay.
Sorry.
All right, so we're gonna go
So
into
we're on
five.
table in 10D, just make sure.
Correct.
Tabling 10D.
Hello, Mr. Gray.
Good evening.
Priority Landscapes, Trip.
Alright, so not a whole lot going on right now. We do have the one proposal for filling the playground wall cut. Other than that, I mean, it's wet, rainy, and there's not a lot happening.
Okay,
If the rain is good.
so
Great.
do I have a motion to approve proposal 3375 for the installation of the mulch, Tonkawa Park and Apache Park? And if you didn't read your packet, the reason we need that is we didn't pass inspection with the current mulch.
Right, there, aren't we redoing all of Tomlinson?
This isn't
This is
Thompson.
the
Did I
other
say, did I say Thompson, Tonkawa and Apache Park?
Okay,
We had both of those parks inspected as well, and they need different mulch.
And that's for the fall zone, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I
The
didn't see
park
that.
part.
So
Yeah,
his,
motion. Well, I'm sorry,
what was
we're doing a
the,
motion to discuss and then.
Do I have a second?
yeah,
I'll second.
Okay, discussion?
because we keep jumping
It's
around.
6A, sorry.
Yeah, 'cause I
It
think-
is, number 6A.
Okay, so that's got a motion and a second?
Yeah, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to see exactly what the number was.
Okay.
And so I guess what we do, so you're gonna check quarterly and then basically as needs top off, okay. So this is enough to exceed it, right? Gotcha, thank you.
Great, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passed. Is that it?
That's all I got.
Okay.
I had requested if you can keep an eye out for some aluminum to put over top of the lumber project.
Yes,
Any luck on that?
I did not have any.
Okay,
I know a guy that might, and it slipped my mind, that you bring it back up, I know a guy that just took down a barn.
excellent. I would love to get a hold of that. I love reusing and recycling.
Okay, I'll check on that for you.
Do we know, do we
Thanks,
know
Trip.
what the budget is for that?
I have no idea. I mean,
Has
as
the
far
board
as,
approved anything?
I'm not asking for like.
Looking for a
budget to be approved.
donation,
I'm
for
looking for
scraps.
So we
Scrap.
need to know how much it's gonna cost though, right?
No, free. So,
Oh,
He's
so it
he's
is
trying to get
free?
free
I
stuff.
don't know, I'm gonna check.
That's what I was
with him
gonna
and
say, he
see.
doesn't know.
Well, if it costs
Yeah.
something, then,
Yeah, I'll let
then
you
it will
know.
be. On that note, we were looking for some lumber for spacers, and recommendation was these boards that were $6 each, and they would only cut down into 2, and I ended up going to the lumber yard over there, and although there's a lot of extra scrap or whatever, there's plenty in there, hardwood, nice and dry, so that'll be stacked hopefully in the next couple days.
Good deal.
that's pretty wood. It's really nice. If you guys haven't seen it, take a look at it. Okay, thank you, Trip.
Thank you.
Going on to 7?
We don't have anything for Tomlinson Park Playscape, that was covered at the special meeting.
Okay.
For Tonkawa Playscape, we actually do have, and I just wanna make sure that's correct. For Tonkawa, we do have a couple of items just to bring up in my general management memo. On page 117, we're required to replace the seats. That was purchased through the amenities subcommittee for $419.94. And then also, let's see, I think it was on page,
Can you give the agenda item number, please?
Number 8.
it wasn't an agenda, number 7, I'm sorry, number 8.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And on page 123, we also, I'm sorry, not on 123, let's see, where did it have it at?
Carded inspection report.
It was part of the inspector's report. It's actually gonna be on page 120. The inspection report did recommend some mats, so we went ahead and purchased those at $1,395, again, through the amenities subcommittee. Both of those items have been purchased, and we are waiting to install on those to keep the place fit into.
It's actually the fall zone, right?
That's what the falls on this way, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you for that update, Lisa.
Yeah.
yeah, anything on Apache?
Nothing on
Park playground.
Apache, everything's
Okay.
working as well as there.
Okay, great. Number 10, Tomlinson pool repair items. So we have a lot of, you wanna go through these?
Yes, I do. Actually, I just want to bring to the board's attention on 10A, in the supplemental packet, you will see the first item, quote number QA2851. That's $72,514.20. Obviously, it's out of the $25,000 range that's required for proposals. The reason that I brought this to you all's attention is that we did have, as Director Roberts had mentioned, a leak in the pump house. We actually have heads that were cracked due to the freeze. So these are not repairable, they need to be replaced. I have submitted a claim to TML. We do know that under TML right now, they have those listed at $43,700. So what we want to see is how much TML is actually going to cover of that cost, and then come back. I believe we're trying to work out a special meeting in February. Bring this item back in February with 2 more proposals, so that way it'll give you guys an option to be able to choose on which direction you want to go in regards to that replacement. But I wanted to bring this to your attention of what the pumps are looking at as far as getting those replaced.
And we don't wanna wait until the February regular meeting, because those pumps could die, and then we don't have any circulation in there, and that would not be a good thing.
So this was the freeze item. I guess I'm kind of confused. I thought we addressed this the last 2 freezes. So how did this happen? I just want a little bit of explanation.
So when you're saying addressed, the guard shack, we obviously addressed. The Pro Aquatics was actually managing the freeze as far as the pumps are concerned. And really, I mean, as Mark had mentioned, we did great up until the, I think, 16th of January, when the freeze just hit so hard. They came out, Pro Aquatics, they were keeping all of the pumps running, and they cracked. I mean, it was just, what we have known is that the pumps have had a lot of head pressure issues. And so we feel like that's possibly one of the items. We did have a gasket that, on one of them, that had a minor leak to it. So it could have just been, like I said, with all the additional freeze and cold, that it became too much for those pumps.
I think is what, that was one of the nights it got down to like 10, 8.
Yeah, but
Okay,
they did
that's even colder than it got in 21.
Yeah.
And I think it felt like -2. Yes, Mark?
Just to give you a little bit of information on how that may have happened, and this is a guess on that. As she said, the pumps were running. I came up every day during the freeze, and the pumps were on, the sides were running the whole time. One of the sides did have a small leak in the gasket, and what happens there is the water's coming out, and that water isn't flowing. So as that freezes and expands, it can crack the head on the pump. That's on one of the sides. The other one, it was not leaking primer at all, but there is a pretty good hole in the head as well. That one's actually gushing out more than the original one. And so the problem right now is, if we did have another major freeze, you either have to run the slides and let water
Mm,
drip,
okay.
to keep the main pump from going out, or you'd have to leave it off and risk the 10-inch pipes freezing.
Right.
So that's
Okay.
kind of the issue you're facing there.
So is there any way to, in the pump house, is there any way to put insulated something in there or warming it? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to, I just wanna know, what can we do to keep preventing this? We keep having these major breaks.
Absolutely, I think adding heaters in there, whether it's temporary heaters, whenever the freezes are coming. Same thing in the guardhouse, opening it, insulating the pipes on the outside wall, and then
Right.
opening up cabinets with a heater inside of there. Right now, there's no heat or air conditioning inside of that guard shack area that I'm aware of.
That's true.
So that's,
Wouldn't, because Lisa and I talked about this quite a bit in detail, and I think having a heater either on the ground or electrical heater, and now if something bursts, you're gonna have an electrical fire or something, it could cause something.
it could cost something.
Yeah.
You could do something on a counter or something.
Yeah, but we've even had water coming out, so I'm leery of putting heaters in there.
Right.
I'm definitely agree with you on more insulation, and we did do that in the guard shack.
Yeah.
I think there was a split valve that wasn't approved by the subcommittee, which maybe would prevent some of this, but the pump room itself, I don't think we've ever had anything freeze in the pump room before.
Right.
We
Normally
have
you
not.
wouldn't.
This is the first time that has happened.
Also, Director Roberts, just to bring to your attention, and obviously the others as well, but Miles did mention with Pro Aquatics that from the time that they had actually checked those pumps, roughly about 10:30 that night to 5:30 in the morning, they feel like one of the pumps actually stopped working, and lost ampage. So you will see, obviously, 2 proposals from Twin Electrics. The panels that are out there right now and the amps that are out there are not enough to push it. And because of all of the power that was being used, it is possible that one of those pumps actually did go down. And so that's the reason why you actually saw that leak actually happen the way that it did. It takes anywhere from 5 to 7 hours for that pump to prime. And so as it was building pressure, it cracked, and it was probably because it actually lost electricity. So we know that these pumps actually have not had any issues. We have obviously had leaks out of the guardhouse, which is what you're referring to, but the pool house, the pump house itself has not had any leaks to this extent. I don't think ever, to be honest with you, or else you would have been replacing these pumps a long time ago.
Yeah, I guess, there's pools all over the county that we're exposed to it, so I'm just curious. All I'm looking for is preventative measures.
Sure.
That we don't encounter this again, because we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars just on these leaks. I mean, this is the 3rd freeze that we've encountered, expensive repairs. And I'm just looking for preventive, and if you do this every day, so if you know there's some way to mount a heater in that guardhouse that's safely not gonna get exposed to water, obviously, or have an automatic shut off, because that's what GFCIs are, right? They automatically shut the power off. I mean, if we just had some advice to make this where it doesn't happen again, I think that's what I'm looking for.
If I could respond to that really quick. One of the items that I've been working with, just in my being on the board, is fix it right the first time. We have, I believe, before I was on the board, we patched over and over. When it went down this time, this previous time, I've asked Lisa, let's rework it. Let's make sure we're getting all the right amperage to everywhere. And that one was quite expensive, but we haven't had any problems on that one. This year, it's the pool here, and we're going through, and you'll see in those estimates, there are quite a bit of, putting in a new panel and reworking all that stuff. But instead of adding on and just hoping it works, we're getting it spec'd out properly so that things like the power will continue to go to the pumps, and so that won't happen. So we are looking to stop doing the patching, and we're looking at it. Let's stop fixing it over and over, and let's try and catch these things beforehand. And we're also looking at any pipes that are in bigger risk. We're looking, instead of either letting them drip or something like that, clear out the pipes until the freeze is over. One of the downfalls of that would be closing the restrooms at the park for a little while, but we are absolutely looking at stop patching it over and over. Let's get it done right this time, and it might be a little bit more upfront cost, but we're looking in long-term.
And honestly, Director, I'd like to chime in. I think, given the temperatures we had this last freeze, right? I mean, this probably is David Gray's wheelhouse, but, you know, I know up north, they talk about, you know, freeze lines and stuff. I mean, I think the problem is that also, like, at the end of the day, like, we're running into a place for getting weather that's kind of beyond the building codes down here, right? Like people are building out, like, they're not, like, no one's building to regular temps of below 15, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we definitely, I think we're all right, we need to look at something. I think that's one of the problems we're confronting is in this particular case, like, if we keep having weather that keeps exceeding our design
That's my
parameters
whole
in
point.
the day,
Yeah.
like, but the flip side is that, you know, I'm sure up north they solve these things by like having like gas heaters, right? Having gas run to the line, whereas we probably cannot afford or justify that for these kind of events, but, I did have a different vein though, question for you, if we can move on. I have a question about the lead time on this, Lisa.
It's 2 to 3 weeks, and so what we're looking at,
Is it-
that Pro Aquatics actually mentioned, it's 2 or 3 weeks if we purchase through buy board. So that would give me an opportunity, and Andrew, maybe even you can mention this if I can ask your expertise, but if the district were to go through buy board and purchase, would that help us get around requiring 3 proposals, or would this be something that I would still need to go back to and look at other companies to see if they would be able to help us in regards to the cost that it's showing right now?
But potentially, the vendor would have to be also a member of buy board.
Okay,
And then they do have services that you can contract with through buy board with these entities. But the biggest thing is the contractor registered as well?
Yeah.
Is the district registered, which I understand y'all are?
We are.
yes.
It's possible, yeah. And
So-
that would, if that was exceeding your, it's now 150,000, right, John?
That's for competitive, but solicitation of bids is 25 to 150K, so that
Yeah.
bucket, yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason I brought that up is because it mentioned in the proposal on page 2, you know, 3 to 5 week lead, and I guess
Right,
the Director Logan mentioned we'd do this at a February meeting, right? I just wanted to make sure where we are in relation to opening for the pools and having this done, but that's one of my other concerns is, you know, this sounds like it's a major project, and I guess to the point made earlier, Mark, that if we had it sounds like we need to be having freeze season to do some of this work, because it sounds like if we don't drain the 10-inch pipe and we're in the middle of replacing pumps, we get a hard freeze, we might have a real problem on our hands. Okay.
yes. So just to wrap that back up, again, we do know Pro Aquatics is actually on buy board.
Okay.
Blockhouse Mud is on buy board as well, so what direction you guys to choose, if I need to table this, we can. If we choose to go a different route and have the mud actually purchase this after we receive information from TML of what they're actually going to cover on the cost, that would give us a little bit better of a lead time in that regard. Like I said, we're looking 2 to 3 weeks out, but we also need to replace the electrical in order for it to be able to manage or handle the pumps that we're actually going to be replacing them with. Right now, the amperage that you have in there would not be able to push these pumps at all. So, you know, we're gonna have to kind of get things coordinated from a project management standpoint of view, but definitely getting these things approved sooner or later are gonna be necessary.
So do you recommend that we put the majority of these in on our special meeting early February?
If we could, like I said, I think we could get
Hear
here
from TML?
I think this one we could get from TML and maybe
Okay.
put it on the special meeting and come back to the board in that regard to let Sean give us a little bit more direction. If we could purchase from buy board and go with Pro Aquatics without having to bring other companies in, I'm happy to do that. If you all need me to bring it just to suffice what's required by TCEQ, I can do that as well.
Okay, so that is 10A.
10A.
What about 10B?
I think 10B, we should go ahead and get approved, so that way they can go ahead and get prepared for that one. The splash pad we've had out there for quite some time, and we have lost a lot of head pressure issues and things to that effect, so some of the equipment has gone down. So they need to also go ahead and get approval to be able to purchase that. That's at $6,365. The waterfall at the beginning of May, when our last contractor was here, it actually did work. After the first day, the waterfall did not work the remainder of the season. And so again, we're looking at head pressure, we're looking at all of the additional, equipment that needs to be
Okay,
purchased.
so that's C. So do I have a motion to approve
B.
10B? 10B is
Yeah,
the splash
sorry, which
pad,
one are we on?
10C is the waterfall. So do I have a motion to approve 10B, and you said that's 6,000?
Mhm.
Wait,
10B is 6,365 for the splash pad.
Okay.
10C is 3,000.
Yeah, let's do these one at a time, just so everybody can follow.
Sorry, yeah, that's where I got confused. You're talking about B and I actually was looking at C. So
Yeah,
So what
okay,
is
sorry.
C covering?
No, let's stay with B
The
first.
waterfall.
No, let's
Yeah.
stay with, let's
Well,
please.
she's just trying to make a note. We're trying to keep it separate.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve 10B, repair for the splash pad features at 6,365?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
And so real quick, this is the pump for the splash pad to circulate the water.
That's correct,
Okay.
the vortex pump.
Which has never really been working correctly, correct? Okay, all in favor?
One more question. So is this gonna increase the flow to those little apparatuses?
It's gonna make it work the way it's
That's
supposed
what
to
I was
work,
asking. Okay,
yes.
that's perfect.
Yeah, it has never, this is Director Roberts, I agree, it has never worked correctly.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's good news.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move to 10C, proposal for the recommendation for repair of the waterfall for 3,665. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Do I have any discussion?
And so this will get the waterfall working.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. 10D, we have already,
Table.
tabled. 10C, or 10E, this is important, and we have already done this at Apache. And this is, something that Lisa noticed, thank you, when, the guardhouse is flooded, she couldn't walk in there because the automatic shut-off valve for the electricity is like 10 feet inside the room. And there was like, what, 10 inches of water, or whatever, you know, whatever.
So
there's all
don't
kind of
play
like-
with electricity while you're standing in water, is what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Good idea.
So, in hindsight, we should have done this at the same time we did Apache, but we didn't, so
E
we're.
is going to be the pool, the pump house, and F is going to be the guard shed.
Okay, so let's do E, so definitely both of them need it. So E is 24,000.
225.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
So I'm sure all of us have been inside that pump house. You walk down a couple of stairs and then you're on cement. And if it's flooded, you need to be able to shut off electricity before you walk in there. That's just basic safety. So do I have any discussion besides mine?
Fix it right the first time.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And let me just ask, you have reviewed all this with Taylor to make sure we've got it within the
So
budget?
I have reviewed it, and I did discuss with Taylor, she actually is online. We don't have any supplemental checks that are cut, but they were needing at least half for materials because of electrical pricing changes from month to month. So I would ask that the board also approve paying half, and Taylor would be able to get us supplemental checks to get those signed. So that's also a question.
Can we do
we
that
have.
if it's not on the agenda? Okay, do I have a motion to approve supplemental check for, thank you Cecilia. A second?
Second?
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And speaking of checks, there are 2 blank checks in the check thing. I didn't sign, so we'll discuss that when we get to finances.
Is there any way we can go in and just get some rubber mats on these concrete floors?
There's already a
Thank you.
proposal in here.
That's all I'm asking.
Okay, so let's go to F, and it's putting the breaker box at the guard shack. And that is at 9,000. Why is there such a big difference between the two?
Well, I mean, the pump house has a lot more ampage, so you've got
Oh,
breakers
okay.
and all the things.
Okay.
We're actually adding voltage to it, amps that we didn't have before.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
Yeah, because look, if they're only like the pump house has got 2 panel replacements.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas the guard shack's just changing the
That's right.
cutoffs.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't look at it that closely. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve F? Breaker box at the guard shack.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
One quick question, follow-up on budget. This, we have money for this in the pool repair part. Yeah, okay,
Yes,
that's what I
we do.
thought.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was figuring. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
G, so this is a sunshade repair estimate, 307 SH for 9,000.
For $1,750.
Okay.
I'm not putting it-
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay, H, proposal for repair of stair handrail slide, estimate 308 SH in the amount of,
$1,750.
May I just pause for a minute before we go in and approve all these? these appear to be the same project.
Different areas of the project per TML. So TML came out last May and they did an inspection, and each portion of the inspection is, that's how we broke it up. So that we could give you guys the option to decide what y'all wanted to repair and replace.
Because this is way over the minimum to get 2 proposals, so my question.
No, so actually G was only 1,000 and H
It's
is
1,750.
And you got 25,000 for the repair of the stairs. So you've got 17,000, 25,000, so I'm just concerned that we may be kind of skirting around what the law requires us to do, that's all I'm asking.
So I wasn't trying to skirt around it. Master welders are hard to come by. And the reason that we went with Dig Dug is because they actually had a master welder that could put us in their schedule before before the new season begins. Because obviously they're hard to come by. So what we did is we actually did reach out to Pro Aquatics. They do have a master welder as well. I can bring back their proposal at 63,000, but I didn't have time to add it into this agenda. So if you'd like for me to add it into the special meeting, just so that we can approve that one item, I'm happy to do that for you.
Yeah, I would feel better to know
So
that at
it's
least
okay.
we had the second
Sure,
proposals
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
it showing up if somebody was to ask for. one.
only for K.
Only for K, but what Pro Aquatics did is they actually bulked the entire thing, so they didn't have it broken out. And what I wanted you all to see for the asset management application, Spyglass that we have, each individual area of what it would cost to replace just the hand railing if needed, just the stairs if needed, the top of the splash pad, the top of the decking for the pool itself. Each area is a separate area, so I wanted you to know how much it would cost in budget if you needed to repair each area in separate.
And I have no problem with that.
Sure.
I'm just more concerned about our legal requirements on going out for proposals.
Okay,
Sean,
so let's go back,
sure.
let's go back to, we're at H.
Mhm.
K is the one I see, Cecilia, that you're concerned about. So
Well,
we
yeah.
will hold on K.
It's only because they're all the same, the slide, it's all the slides.
Well,
so
Well,
that's-
no,
Can,
About the
I have a
handrail.
question, y'all finish.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
that
don't,
was- that was
anyway,
rough.
just, maybe Lisa can answer this.
Sure.
So the stair handrail is the slide, correct?
Stair handrail is for the stairs that you walk up to the
Same
slide.
thing, slide, going to slide, okay. And then the tower platform is the slide.
It's separate, but it's a
Well, but still, it's
platform.
all the same project.
okay, so let's pause for a second. Sean, will you give us an opinion? Are these okay split out to do the handrail and the stairs? The one that is alone for 26,000 will go for what we need to do. Are the other 3 okay to do together, even though they're different parts of the slide? H, I, and J.
And I guess I should have called Sean before we got here.
Yeah, this is a good thing for us to look at our packets ahead of time,
Well, I did.
so
but
we
I
don't
didn't
discuss this here.
I did look at my packet, I didn't have time to make the call, so that's
Well,
why.
Okay, so we're discussing it now.
No, I
10,
understand.
H, I, and J.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I knew that those three kind of were packaged together. So I'm sorry, the last one then is.
The last one is
310 SH.
Yeah, and we are gonna hold that, and we will get 3 bids on that, 'cause it's 20.
Well, I think that's 311.
I have 2, like I said, this one and one more. I'll work at trying to find another welder. I don't know how quick I can get one, but, and just, again, just to give the board information, the only reason that these were broken out was literally following TML's inspection. And so I addressed each item as the inspection addressed each item instead of lumping it all. They didn't lump all of it together. They actually addressed each item.
So it's my understanding, you don't actually have to receive 3 proposals, you just have to request them.
That's
And
correct.
if nobody responds, then we're fine.
Okay.
So yeah, if we're talking about, I mean, check my lawyer math here, but 307, 308, and 309, we're still collectively, those 3
Yes,
are under 25K, right?
correct.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
So yeah, I'm perfectly comfortable proceeding like that, and yes, on the last one, we're technically under 25K. I don't know about the nexus between this one, we could talk more about that but if we're gonna keep this one separate, it's under 25K, if we've already got another bid. You are correct that provision in water code says that you have to solicit 3 bids, not get 3 bids. So if you can approach one more welder, if that's the preference, we could take this up sooner as opposed to later.
Okay, so we can continue on?
I'm comfortable going for 307, 308, and 310. Is there a way?
309 and
309,
310. So 307 has nothing to do, is that part of it?
No,
There's a
307 is
Seven,
a-
like
is a
welding? I guess, I
No.
wanted to ask, like, 307 and 308, it doesn't look like we're getting welding service, looks like we're finishing painting.
No, so 307 actually is a sunshade that's sitting in your water table, and it currently has a lot of rust to it. So what
Yeah.
we're gonna go is, we're gonna use a welder to go in and repatch that portion of the steel, so that way that thing doesn't fall. And that way we can have a casing around it, so that way the water table doesn't affect it in the future.
So 307 has nothing to do with the slides.
Not at
Yeah,
all.
okay, so
Okay,
it's
okay.
308, 309, 310.
Yeah,
So that aggregate does push north of 25K. I would say we probably, if these are the same facility, this is all part of the platform in the slide.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think my thought here is it sounds like we've got a preference for kind of making sure we check our boxes. So I think in that case, I might think if we're north of 25K, probably do the same thing on those three.
So I, J, and K will bring those back at the special meeting and bring the other proposal that we have with it.
Yeah.
if you get another proposal.
Sure.
And I guess that's perfectly, so, okay, so 307 is a different thing than the slide entirely.
It's not on the slide at all.
That's why okay, that's where I was confused.
Yeah.
But then 308 and 309, are those, I guess I was making a reason. I read that we were getting 3 things done that didn't involve welding, involved paint and refinishing. And then the other 2 that were expensive was involved am I clarifying, what are those other 2 getting? I guess we're getting some paint services, we're getting some welding services?
You have rust and you have paint, so those are gonna be taken care of in a few. And then the others, you're gonna get welding services for the platform itself, for the railing itself, and for the actual
Okay.
stairs.
Okay.
Yes.
And I guess the matter of the combine, this is both the threat, since we're using one contract to do all the work, I guess, Sean, okay, that's. In my head, I was thinking like, are we asking about
Yeah.
separate services for separate tasks? That's all I want to clarify.
Should it constitute a single project or not? I don't know that you can say definitively yes or no, but
Okay,
it sounds
that's
like
fine.
there's at least some preference to,
If
Check
one
the
director's
market,
not
so-
comfortable, yeah, let's just pause, but I understand, Lisa, where you're coming from doing it based off
Yeah,
the
they are not
TML.
one single project,
Yeah.
everything is separate, they are gonna be done each separately, but like I
Yeah.
said, we do have one more proposal, we'll solicit one more.
Okay, all right, yeah, Lisa, try to solicit. Okay, so then we're gonna move on to 11.
I'm sorry, do we want to do 307? or-
We already did
We
307.
did.
We already approved that.
Can I ask,
The one that's.
I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry.
I'd like to ask or give a directive and see if it's okay with the rest of the board. And I know this might be a little bit more work for you, Lisa, but I'm sure you've been to the top of the slides and looking at the rails a few times. We don't really have the opportunity to all of us individually go up there and check it out. What I would like to ask is for fixes and repairs. When you're out there the next time, snap a photo of it. And then when we're looking at it, we're like, oh,
It's
that all
actually in your,
goes together?
It's,
it's in the TML packet.
yeah, when TML went out there and did their inspection, they have a full photos of everything.
Okay, okay, so that was from them, because I saw that we had, playscape photos still popping up in the packet, but,
TML's inspection was several months ago, so that would have been a good thing maybe to add that, just to remind us.
Actually,
Okay.
I thought it was added, I did ask Denise to add it, so it
Did
was
you?
just missed, so
Okay.
we will make
Okay, yeah, I
sure.
looked through the packet
Okay.
before, I didn't see it, that's
Okay.
part of my confusion, I was trying to figure out from reading it what was
Okay.
what, so.
and then on top of that, as residents might go through this, it would be good for them to be able to see like, yep, that's broken.
Yeah,
it
why are you
needs to get
spending
fixed,
this
so-
amount of money on that?
And all I'm asking for is just snap a photo, and then when we're going through the proposals and repairs and stuff,
Yeah.
we're like, yep.
But she doesn't need to snap a photo for this because
We'll just
TML
add-
already did it all.
We'll just add the
Okay.
TML report back to it.
Okay, all right, let's move on. At 7:13, we're on 11. Okay, 11, proposal from Sundeck of Austin for application,
This is to install rubber flooring inside the pump.
This is for you, Director Roberts. So you're saying, Matt, this is a proposal for slip resistant, and it's in the amount of,
$4,556.04.
And they want 50% down.
okay, so do I have a motion for 50% down and approval for this proposal?
Motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes. How do we know that this matting protects you from electrical shock?
It's not a guarantee for anything to protect you from electrical shock,
There's-
but we actually did add this same type of protection at the GST, where we have massive pumps out there as well. It does help slip resistant and all the things,
So
so.
it's more for slip resistant.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about electrical shock.
All right, that's why I was just saying, maybe we should go and get rubber mat, but I like this too.
Very good.
And that's why we're gonna do that shut off valve thing, so, okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Alright,
Aye. Okay, 12, let's, yeah, we're gonna move 12 to the end because we need to go into executive on that.
I don't have.
It's, you don't,
12 on my
you don't.
supplemental.
Okay.
you
that's
don't,
You got emailed to us?
Sean, no, Sean has it, it's confidential, and he'll hand it to us when we go in executive.
Oh, okay.
fine. Thank you.
Okay, 13, amenities subcommittee,
You have your report in the packet.
thank you. Amenities subcommittee and security meeting related action.
Again, your memo is in the packet as well.
That's kind of funny how it's worded, huh?
Yeah, I did want to ask you on your logic about keeping the orange fence, because thank you, Director Logan, I've been thinking the same thing. What's the reason for barricading when everything's removed?
The orange fencing literally is just because there is a lot of gravel in there, and because TML did mention that with all of the elements, that gravel is actually like concrete now, so to give people just another area to go in and play in, if they fall, they're obviously gonna scrape and hurt themselves.
Isn't there a drop off also?
There's also it's about a 15-inch drop off from the actual wall itself, so if people go and stand on that wall on the outside of it, it'll,
But the fence didn't get taken down.
no, we haven't taken the orange fence down.
I walk on that gravel all the time, and it's not that hard. I mean, it gets in your shoes, so
I completely understand.
I think that, personally, I would think it would be okay to take it down. I mean,
Well, I think with the drop off, that it's just a big hole, the 15-inch drop off.
okay.
I don't know, it's not really on the agenda, so we can't really vote on it,
I just
right?
was curious when I saw it in the report,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I thought you were, and I was like, man, I've been thinking the same thing.
Did you say TML recommended roping it off?
They didn't recommend roping it off, they recommended just that everything be removed because of the elements from it, so I figured it was safer, but whichever way you guys would
I
like
mean,
to go.
because you've got a creek down there that they can fall into too, so we're not roping it off. I mean, you know, I'm just saying,
Yeah, well, we can put it on the agenda if we want to
Okay.
vote on it next month.
all right.
Okay, let's move on, PR communications, 15. Special events,
So we don't have any special events currently to discuss.
no, just the, security subcommittee is working with Deputy Lovato on a safety day, we're looking at March or April, it sounds like April now. And the OA is going to work with us on it, so it's really gonna be kind of a cool event. But the main part of it will be a town hall with the sheriff and some of the deputies.
Right.
Okay, 16, or no, B, I'm sorry, newsletter.
Newsletter, we actually did have a discussion with PRM Communications in regards to the newsletter. They were gonna discuss actually bringing this item up for consideration in regards to having this newsletter done on an every other month basis, so roughly 6 newsletters a year. Look at, instead of just printing it, but obviously emailing it through Crossroads system to be able to make sure that all residents are capable of being able to obtain that newsletter as well. They'll be a little bit more robust, but it'll give us a little bit more of an opportunity for the communications subcommittee to be able to do any edits or add any additional items if needed. So that's the recommendation, is actually going
We
from
also
every
wanted to
month to.
support the staff and the time that it takes to get this
Absolutely.
newsletter out.
Mhm.
So we feel like it'd be more efficient and certainly have a lot more information in it, give us time. And we can always push out anything urgent or emergency through the email system, so Robert and I talked about that with.
yeah, so my thoughts on the topic and part why I'd like to get this to the full board's attention so we could all discuss it. I prefer communication over not communication. That's a bit more of a handful. I don't know if we maybe need to start looking into getting somebody to handle the newsletters for us on a monthly basis. And there's pros and cons to every way you go, like less communication, but it's gonna cost less, but more communication is gonna cost more. I would like to go with a little bit more and maintain a monthly newsletter. And if that's not something that is in their time schedule, then we start looking at somebody to help manage that, or maybe even ask if they could, spend an hour a month kind of managing them, as opposed to 3 or 4 hours, or however long it takes them to put that
Okay,
out.
so let's go around so everybody can have one chance to respond. I'll go next. What I would love for you to see, I agree, I think monthly would be great. I actually think it should be all electronic. This isn't new to anyone. And I don't know if that saves you any time doing an electronic one versus having to get it out and print it and such. It's just being sustainable. It's way tons of newsletters are being sent these days. And I've even had a resident that, not one resident, but I've had residents say, why isn't this, electronic? And in the past, we've done all electronic, and then we've had like a handful where if residents wanted to pick it up and put it on their refrigerator and hold it in their hands, they could. But I think it's kind of silly to print these, because half the people that are receiving them aren't even looking at them. So that's my opinion on it. David?
I definitely would like to keep it monthly. I would say if it's a workload issue with me, and you, Lisa, I think that maybe one thought would be every other month perhaps, instead of being a full page thing, that it's more like a little insert that just has the key events for the month. Just something that's, because I think that's one, the articles can be helpful. I think, in my experience personally, I feel like that's one thing that people do tend to get from getting that hard copy right, is the utility of the calendar events on it, is they can put that somewhere, I prefer the hard copy, because we actually will put that up, but I think maybe both to save paper, but also to save your time, right? I don't think it's just like a fully fleshed out, like with comments and articles every month, but I think getting that calendar of events that people can see is probably the most useful thing to get out every month.
Can I ask you a question? Do you have a printer at home?
I do.
So when I get stuff online that I wanna have, I print it out. So, and it's just an idea, the residents could print that out and put that on.
But we can work on that, but I think it's something the key issue tonight is like really keeping it monthly and what.
Yeah,
Amy
no, I
wants
got
to
it,
do, right? Like, we can figure out how we're gonna do it, prepping it's like the key thing.
Okay, Director Roberts.
Okay, so in the past, we actually did have a contractor that sat in the meetings and actually wrote the articles and proofed it, and it worked very mainstream, it was beautiful, it was very well done. I definitely think that we forget there's an older generation, not everybody wants to print, not everybody has a printer, at their printer, and I know the people I talk to like the print copy. In fact, some of them are frustrated because they didn't get it or something like that, and so I think we should do what David said, we keep it both ways. It's not that big of a deal to print, and it's certainly easy to send out, and they're already getting it electronically. Either way, they're getting it through the social media or an email, correct? We can do that. So I'd say that we look at it, but we also be aware of their time and maybe consider it. If it's not manageable within your work schedule, then let's see if we can find somebody out there and get a bid from them and bring it back to the board.
All right, let's put it on the agenda for next month to finalize this. I would like to have some of the costs, is how much it's costing us to print it. Because in the past, we were able to print something for the residents that were not able to print it at home or wanted a hard copy. And I don't think that we should have residents, taxpayer money going for a very small percentage that we can give it to them. We can give them hard copies.
Can we also get a cost, Lisa, if like if not printing a full every month, like even just sending like a little,
It doesn't
not a push
cost that
card,
much.
but those little,
Yeah.
I'm just, things like, I think that, is the part, but I'd be curious to know about just even getting that sent out.
Well, and you mentioned something, Director Shoemaker, about calendar items, and the OA is so good about putting their events out a full year in advance. And maybe we could, make it a focus to have a year-long calendar of events ready to go in January, and then we could, send that out.
Yeah.
And what we've done in the past, is we used to have a magnet with the calendar, and it would have what was it, recycling, trash day, then it had, your watering day, odd numbers and this and that. So maybe we could look at doing something like that and giving it to them as
And
well.
maybe we could pull that together before safety day and hand that out
Yeah.
when Deputy Lovato.
Sorry, lots of ideas here.
Yeah, we're kind of brainstorming, but.
The one item I just want to give you guys attention to is, it's just that anytime that we're putting anything out through Crossroads, it has to be into them by the 10th in order for billing to be able to receive it, process it through Data Pros, and then also have it by the time they're ready to push billing on the 18th. So there is a time constraint. So it is gathering this data, making sure that everything is edited and so forth. So that's really what we're looking at, is the time constraint. It's a small window. By the time we're done with this board meeting, going and creating a new newsletter for you all. So that's what we're really looking at.
Okay, so I think, go ahead.
One more suggestion, as we're looking for contractors to do this, I know somebody was trying to do something on Facebook along the lines of anybody's got any stories to do the
Nancy.
newsletter, so if we can, send an email out or put it in the next newsletter, like, hey, we're looking to have a few people that wanna do it, they could write something up if they wanted to take care of it. I wouldn't even mind, you know, like, I don't know how much a contractor would cost, but, if we had somebody kind of managing that, maybe giving them.
Yeah,
some
you're
feedback.
talking about the Vineyards has their own newsletter. Nancy, my neighbor, puts it together, and she puts it out monthly.
And just a little tip in the real estate world, when we do descriptions for our properties, we're using AI. And the thing you gotta do with AI, and it's fast. All you gotta do is give it a sentence and it
Yeah.
pops it back to you, so, but you have to proof it. And you can't really use it verbatim, you just need to kind of edit, but that might be a really quick way of writing articles.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, let's move on then. I think, the subcommittee's tasked with a few things, and we'll have it on the next meeting. Transparency, 16.
Nothing on that one.
Resident survey, 17.
We did send a list of surveying information over to the subcommittee. They are reviewing that information, and I'm not gotten back to us at this moment. Robert, do you have anything to add for you all?
I would like to, I didn't even realize this when I read it, but it is only to the, subcommittee. Could we send that out to the full board, and then we'll plan to make a decision on who to go with? We'll discuss it, debate it next month, and then
Yeah.
pull the trigger on it.
I would really like us to finalize the survey in February and get that thing out.
Well, I think given the work we have to do on the playscapes, we discussed it last meeting, I think it's at least at minimum to get something out about desired park amenities would be very helpful to everybody's.
And I think, that aren't there some questions on amenities in there? Okay, all right, yeah, please send that out to the full board. Okay, restricted covenants, 18. Cam, and do you have anything, Shoemaker?
So we had the services committee going at the same time as the last restricted covenants, so Director Johnson told me he would take care of reporting back on what happens, so.
Oh, and now he's,
COVID.
everyone
He
is
gets going.
bigger now.
He leaves me hanging, he did give me an
He's
update to
hanging
pass
out.
along, that's,
It's his finger.
so he did not give me an update to pass along, he thought he was gonna be here tonight, so I will
Way to
have
go,
to
Johnson.
leave this one pending for now. but-
Okay, all right, we'll skip that. Okay, Taylor's on finance and audit.
Left you hanging.
Payment
All right,
and bill.
Ellen, flip to your bookkeeper's report. It is gonna start on page 152 of your packet. I don't really have anything out of the ordinary. Obviously, we need approval on checks today. Ursula, I heard your comment about those two $0 checks in there. One of those is to the TCEQ for your annual assessment fee. We don't have that amount until we get your December billing recap, and so you're just waiting on that amount to come in. And then the other one is a supplemental. It's for your credit card bill. And again, that's just a function of time. We're waiting on that bill to come in.
Okay, I didn't sign that, so will you guys make sure that you all sign that, those last two checks?
Yes, I signed it, we'll
We'll
pass
get
it
it
around.
taken care of.
Okay, good.
I need to send it to-
Any fund transfers?
Yeah, we had two fund transfers, and then we did have one item come up in our subcommittee meeting that I wanted to bring up so that we can get it on the agenda for next month, and that is the discussion about the special projects tax pool account and the fence maintenance. So we just wanna have that on the agenda next month so that we can take some action on that.
Okay, and any investments? Is there anything on that?
No
Okay,
investment.
so let's, okay, so, do I have a motion to approve payment of bills and the two fund transfers?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and so what Taylor was just mentioning is what we did bring up in the subcommittee is, you know, we had talked about having Taylor and the GM be able to sign. Sean's working on the language on that, so we'll bring that up in February and finalize that and get that in motion, okay? Thank you, Taylor. Anything from audit subcommittee?
No.
Okay, moving on to services, David Gray.
David Gray, must be me. So my report's the package. I don't have anything to add to the bond discussion really. I thought we had a very productive special meeting. I understand there may be a need to arise to address the park plan, to update the park plan. So I'll defer to legal counsel on that. I'll be happy to help in that effort. We did the last park plan, and we have it in a state, if you will, that it can be relatively easily updated to bring it
Okay,
back
so
to the board.
let Sean update the
Sure.
board on that. This is not the Trent Rush Park Plan.
That's correct.
It's the, two-pager?
The one we approved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, Sean will update you on it.
so, board members, you know that Trent Rush did your master park plan, which is a big, long thing that has a lot of diagrams and nice descriptions and price estimates and that sort of thing. Chapter 49 of the Water Code requires a district to adopt a park plan before you bond park facilities. So we've talked about this a little bit in the past. In the context of the playscape, I think we had talked briefly about possibly, or likely needing to revisit your park plan. And in the context of bonding the playscape and ensure we're good to go there, it has been suggested by your bond counsel that it might be best to do that sooner as opposed to later. And so they have recommended that we undertake the update of the park plan. And again, this is rather simple. Your current park plan was passed literally at the same meeting in the fall of, I think it was July of 2020. They called the bond proposition. And that was the meeting where we decided specifically to have two separate bond propositions. And so your park plan is reflective of that. So to David's point, this is a little bit of a modification, but not having to start from square one. And so I think it'd be a rather simple modification. We'll remove everything relating to the fence proposition that failed to pass, and then just make the change within the the description of what did pass, and substitute essentially the playscape for the renovation.
Okay, so does that need to be a directive?
Yes, I think that'd be good to direct David to do that, and.
You're directed.
Thank you. I think that y'all are contemplating having that back to you before your next regular board meeting.
Is it
So
special or?
I don't think you can get it by the special. You said about 2 weeks.
I was contemplating your special meeting is what, the 7th, is that right?
Or 8. We're actually, I think the 8th, right?
2 weeks,
Yeah,
from 2 weeks from tonight, it's the 7th, 8th, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think we can query after tonight, just everyone's
Yeah,
availability.
we'll shoot for that.
Okay.
I know it's
That'd
important
be
for you
awesome.
all
Yeah.
to get it done timely, it's not an overwhelming task, and it's
Okay.
important to keep advancing. You know, this kind of issue came out of left field because of attorney general issues, so, we want to keep them happy.
Yeah.
So Sean, you don't, I mean, either one of you don't see any reasons why the playscape can't be switched out?
Correct. It's just, one of the things is that the representation would likely be made to the AG's office that, hey, we intend to undertake our park plan. And the thought from McCall Parkhurst is, let's just go ahead and update the park plan now.
Okay.
So
No, I
that's.
think it's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Okay.
The other item is the NFM site. I know we've been visiting with the subcommittee.
Is this
Yeah.
okay in public or should we go and do that?
It's, y'all direct me.
Well, is it that confidential?
It's a negotiation point,
Sean.
let's put it that way.
Mhm.
You can go into executive for legal advice, employee,
Real estate considerations as well.
real estate, okay. Yeah, I think we should go into executive. If you all don't mind.
You do it now, or do you wanna wait?
Were you gonna say that, what do you?
I will do whatever y'all
I think we do it now.
need. to
Yeah, if you don't
do.
mind,
Can we do
Chris,
both of them?
we probably could. So we're gonna pause, no decisions will be made, but we're gonna go into executive session and we'll return shortly. Okay, Dr. Young hasn't returned, but we have okay, he's here. We are back out of executive, no decisions were made. The board has directed David Gray to go ahead and reach out to NFM. Okay, next, I'm gonna restart my computer. What's the next agenda item?
23, report and directives for Crossroads Utility Services. Right, I think that's where you're on.
Thank you.
We have 23.
Good evening. I'm filling in for Ben.
Hi.
More important things
See.
tonight, no offense. Your
He's having a
pack-
baby.
He's having baby number 2.
Is he
so-
tonight?
Congratulations.
Aw.
Yep. This is-
Cool.
Your packet is in your agenda packet. We don't have anything major going on with your systems, your water, wastewater system. We did get called out today with some high pressure alarms at your booster station. Fairly normal. There's some solenoids failing, not a major deal, but we're gonna repair those. So we shut off one of the high pressure pumps for that purpose, but it's been running fine.
Where are those high-pressure pumps? I mean, can you tell me without
Fire
being?
pumps, pump 3 and 4 are your,
They're in the building.
they're in your booster
Oh,
station.
gotcha.
It's got
Yeah,
some tank.
In that little ring?
2 of those are big fire demand pumps that run.
Yeah, it's not a little room, it's as big as the office.
Your water losses enclosed at 10%, 11% rather, at 1.8 million. This is up a little bit. This time last year was 1.5 million, the year before 1.1 million, so it has climbed a little bit. The amount of water loss has gone down, but maybe since last month, but we're continuing to look into this. I think maybe one of the last meetings it was mentioned, maybe the overall age condition of your retail meters could be a source of that loss. We did look at that a little bit, so we pulled some meters and did a sample test and tested them on a bench with Fluid Meter Service and found that they are lower on the low flow amount, so a quarter of a gallon a minute up to 1 gallon a minute. They were not within your AWWA range, which is common as meters age, they slow down. So they're not picking up all the water, you might turn a faucet on and it's not picking up all that water. Generally though, on an average basis, because you're not always using 1 to 2 gallons a minute, you're using 2 different faucets, you are within range, but it's just something that we need to probably get caught up a little bit this year. And I do have some proposals in the packet for that on replacing old meters that are beyond the lifespan, the recommended industry lifespan. So we're continuing to monitor that. That's obviously a concern being a winter average period, so.
Does this follow what the numbers Ben gave us last month as far as so many were over 3 million, so many over 2 million? Okay. And
Yep, so you have, I don't think he put that in your packet. We can next month, the breakdown.
yeah, he just told it.
He did, yeah, I think you have 230 that we would recommend we do something with this year, to replace this year. They're over the 2 million mark.
230, you said?
Yeah, I think it's 236, 239.
Taylor, are you still on the call?
No, she dropped.
So you have 25,000 on your budget for meter replacements already booked.
Okay, so it's $85 per meter, right?
To replace it, yes.
Yeah, so
86 for the actual meter, that's right. So you could get by with 150 if you wanted to stick to that budget at 25K.
Oh, do 150 replacements?
150. Yeah, if you do the math, the 85 swap, labor price plus the 86 and change, you could get 150 if you wanted to stay within your 25K, which is in your budget this year.
Do you need a directive for that or a motion?
So we'll get to that. I think there's some
Yeah.
proposals.
Yeah, I think agenda 23G, I think is where we're kind of drifting towards.
yeah,
Okay, we are. Anyway, system maintenance and repairs, nothing, no write-offs for you. Your billing reports are in the packet. 23C, meter reading concerns. So we had some directors reach out about some social media posts, a few posts about a resident who had some readings that didn't make sense, a condition of the box that she felt that the meter was covered. There's no way Crossroads could read it. We did investigate the customer's complaint, went through, so Crossroads utilizes a software for our meter readers that GPS and timestamps their readings. So they're walking around, as you know, we do manual reads of the meter, walking around with a smart device, a smartphone with that software. They're not provided the previous read, so they don't know what the previous read is. They have an address, they have a little PIN key, they enter the reading. There's audit values built into the software. So if they write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's 3,000, it's gonna tell them, try again. That doesn't make sense. So the software is smart enough to know what the range should be. And then it has alerts that it will send us later in reporting if it's a high or abnormal reading. So we noticed some high usage for the customer, but nothing out of the norm, and I'll pass these out. The software does prompt photos if it does trigger a high audit. So that's just a photo of that one customer's meter.
Is it the same?
Yeah, they're the same.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't make more copies. So you can see
So
a
it's all
map.
buried.
So it's buried, that's right. So that's not abnormal in a water district. It's, a meter that you might just see the face.
I mean,
But we clean that off
I've seen it.
because at times you can get a rainstorm, they'll fill back up, cover again, we wipe it off, make the reading, move on. So, depending on the time of the month, if you walk out there, it could be covered. But we have photos, I mean, this is a timestamp, GPS location of where the reader was, when the photo was taken, on that time, the date down to the second. So this is the kind of detail that we have.
That's good.
of all of your readings. And just, running, had our meter reading team kind of look at that month as a whole. So we read 2,205 meters. We had 78 rereads. So 78 meters were prompted with some kind of, check this out, something doesn't make sense. 5 meters were stuck. One was an issue we had to check out because it didn't make sense. Of the 78, 8 of those were legitimate misreads. So legitimate human error, so 8. So that's a 99.99% accuracy rate. So that we keep those statistics because in our contract, we maintain a quality assurance program that's required. Well, we find no massive system-wide meter reading issues based on these statistics. The customer does have a meter that is buried, can get covered, but the data that we have on those readings show that our operator, or rather our meter reader, was there during those periods reading that meter. So we have communicated with the resident, provided her that information, we haven't heard back, so.
So let me ask you this, so what is the responsibility of the resident to clear out the meter reading? I mean, half of them never probably owned that lid. I mean, is there?
It's not their responsibility, it's yours.
Oh, it is?
And it's really to, we do clean them out if it gets to a point where it's so difficult.
Okay.
We're getting a series of misreads, but it's your responsibility to maintain that box.
Makes sense. And
And not every meter looks like that. I mean,
Do
some of them
your-
are very accessible.
yeah, this one's really buried. But so do you have any record of what type of meter and what year they were put in?
I'm not sure about the years. We do have your meter report that would show when it's appropriate to change it out. It's usually based on what we call mileage, the amount of usage on the meter. Over 1.5, I typically say it's time to replace it. But since y'all have some over 2, I think we should prioritize those, 2 million. Again, it's not gonna make a huge dent in your water loss, but if you wait another year and another year, you're gonna have 300, 405, and then it becomes more of an issue.
Okay.
And that's your cash register.
Yeah.
That needs to be,
We're losing money.
accurate, so.
Yeah.
So I wanted to address that, because there was some posts, like, my meter is wrong too, my usage is high. And we have a method of kind of looking at each of those. Some of those customers don't reach out to us, they just go on social media.
Of course.
This customer did reach out to us, made some claims that our driver just was driving down the street and not reading them, and we think she's seeing the operator, who's a different truck, it's a truck, it's not a car. Because when it was said it was a truck, we're like, well, that's the operator, he's not gonna stop at every house, he's going to one house, or one issue, so. And we said, if you have video of somebody not doing their job, please send it to us.
Yeah, I've asked her twice for that
We
video.
have not gotten anything, we have provided this information. This can be shared at the very top, it says, create link, and our customer service staff will send that page to the customer.
Okay.
If they say there's no way this is right, well, this is what we read.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anyway, that's kind of what the software is and what it can do for y'all and what we use every day, so I wanted to touch base on that. So,
Thank you.
if
And
you
this
want-
would be a great article.
I was thinking that too, yeah.
So, yeah, we have kind of
Yeah,
Just to educate people.
higher
totally
level primers on this that we
Okay.
could put together for Lisa and Amy
Yeah.
and get that in
that
your
would be
newsletter.
a great
We're
article.
not just walking out there with a big legal pad and
Yeah,
pencil.
yeah. That's what I thought you were
I think that's
doing.
right.
No,
Just kidding.
yeah. This software actually was designed for the city of Austin. If you remember 5 years ago, they were all over the news because they were finding that some of the meter readers were not reading. They partnered with this company, and then we found out, we're like, we'll take them too, this is great, and they created this
That's really good.
software to prevent that.
Yeah.
And it's so sophisticated that it will notify the supervisor if they've entered three times a reading that doesn't make sense. It'll notify because something's going on.
Nominal.
There's also in the middle, a D2M value, distance to meter. If the meter reader is beyond 50 feet, it will notify that because what happens is they can start on the wrong side of the street, right? Just human error. But this was 100 Main Street and it's 1,000 Main Street. So what it's analyzing is it knows where all the meters are based on the GPS coordinates. So if that D2M value is over 50 feet, it'll notify us that he's possibly at the wrong house or the wrong side of the street. So that was another
Smart.
tweak. I got to be on the news for that. That was fun. So, so that is 23C. 23D in your packet is an annual review item. Every year we look at your red flag rules and your identity theft prevention program. You didn't have any incidences that we could track or find. We discussed it internally, and so we don't recommend any changes to your program. So you're supposed to receive the report from me, and then you formally act on a resolution that you're not going to make any changes to the program.
Do we need to make a motion for that?
We do.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Is this something that we would share online or no? Sure.
Not really, no.
Okay.
So this is, I mean, I think I've explained this before for several years. This is really your kind of your front end, making sure that who we're talking to is the right person on the account, making sure that.
More of the privacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're answering questions about your details on the account.
And it's a required annual review, and I think these are federal rules, right, Andrew?
Yes,
Yeah.
FTC rules.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next.
Okay, 23E, I don't know if we want to discuss anything there, or what.
The subcommittee met with Andrew and Lisa, and at this point, since everybody's under the same company, we didn't feel like there was any need to make any changes, am I correct?
Yeah, and I guess if you want, we can talk, I guess that's what we talked about in 27, the services subcommittee, so we could not be shot together. But yeah, basically, we were talking to Andrew and Lisa about, you know, at the end of the day, should we have the should we change up how those lines of command work? And the bottom line answer, it sounded like, was that, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, they're all in the same company. They talk to Lisa on a regular basis. There was no need to go through the trouble of changing the contract at this time. So
And the expensive changes.
and then we have to, you know, the expense of having Sean and then, right, so now, you know, when we get around to re-upping the entire contract, we're gonna make a tweak or two. That's a different story, right? Because it's part of the overall, but since we're in the middle of it, the expense of adjusting it would not change anything operationally, we decide we figured it's probably just not worth it.
Okay, so, I want to discuss it more, so I'm gonna make a motion. So I'm gonna make a motion that we do separate 3.05 out from the operations contract into the general manager's contract. So do I have a second for discussion?
A second.
Okay, so I want to remind the board that when we did have this contract in front of us, I brought up several concerns and issues that I thought we needed to address. And there was a timing issue, and we all agreed that, hey, let's go ahead and sign it now and go down a couple of months, redline it, and then bring it back.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. And I'll tell you my concerns with this. 3.05 is all about parks. And the reality is what we are doing in practice is not matching our contract. My second point is when Travis is buying materials under Crossroads, under bin, we're being upcharged. So, and you can look at our invoices and see that. If he was under the general manager contract, he would be buying them through the credit card or through other means, we wouldn't be upcharged. So there's actually a savings there. It is a 2-year contract, it's up in 2025. I asked Sean, he said it'd be 3 to 5 hours of his time to make this change too. So we're not talking about a crazy amount of money.
That's $1,200.
Well, this is what we brought up to the board.
Yeah.
You know, we brought-
Yeah,
just
no,
like
no,
said,
I just-
because Sean
I-
was not on the call, so we didn't.
Yeah, no, I want to share why I redlined it and why I have concerns with this. And here's the reality. And I know probably most of your contracts are built this way, but when I read it, the parks, I get operations is really the water. It's the billing, it is the meters, it is, you know, the whole operation side. The parks are so much more than that. They are working with the landscaper, they are working even sometimes with the pools and
Graffiti goes up,
yeah.
we need to respond right away.
In my understanding, our operations manager isn't working with Mark or working with Tripp. I don't know, I don't think so. Travis is here every morning. He's in the district every day for 8 hours. And he is taking his direction from our general manager. Hey, there's graffiti over there. Hey, there's something over there. Hey, we need to do this. He's not taking direction from Ben here. And so I think it's kind of a mix. It's a mismatch in the contract. And I just think logically it makes sense that he's here physically reporting basically to you, and you see things, you identify them, you tell him. Do you call Ben up and say, hey, I've got X, Y, and Z here, can Travis go fix it? Okay, so.
And she doesn't, I mean, some of what we discussed I totally see your points. And there's some, for example, there's just logistical things that could change internally, because it's Crossroads and Crossroads.
Yeah.
So Crossroads is not coordinating with Crossroads.
Right.
Which shouldn't be your problem to have to correct. It's just better communication and better coordination. For example, if he needs to order something, trash bags, instead of calling Spencer, he calls Lisa.
Yeah.
Like that, we could write that into a contract, but really, we just can tell him, don't do that, do it with her.
Yeah, I guess I just don't understand why we're keeping him under operations when Ben's not here every day. He's not having a conversation with him every day, but he's hands-on here with the team here.
But I'm gonna just kind of make my 2 bits. So basically, he is underneath her, he's here in the walkers, he has a desk right there. And what Crossroads is saying, that they're the same contract. So, and it's no different than it has been in the past. The other GMs had the park person in here and they directed them what to do, and that park person would go buy things and not upcharge the district. So I think what we're trying to do is save 4 hours of billable time and wait until the next year and let things stay status quo, because Andrew has agreed to work with Ben and Lisa to make sure that this coordination works well together because of the same company. And it's just, there's no reason to spend the money moving this paragraph over to a GM contract.
Okay,
Well, I think one thing I said we did not generally discuss much in that meeting was the cost of things and how they're billed, right? But we did talk a good bit about the functional structure, right? Because that was, when I read the contract, I agree with you, Director, Logan, that if you read the contract, it does not accurately reflect, I think, the state of things on the ground. It was just, given that the reason I recommended from the subcommittee was to not change at this time was simply because Crossroads was we're gonna do this anyway, right? It was one of those if it won't change anything operationally for them, right? We didn't try to weigh it against any cost in billing of purchases, right? In which case, I would be curious. That did not come up in the discussion, so I would be curious to see what that number would be. But that was the thing, when it was in a comparison of no operational change for Crossroads, right? I was disinclined to spend any money because but the thing is, but to your point you raised, if it's possible, I don't want to pin this again per se, but I would like to, that's what we didn't really discuss in the meeting, and I guess it's kind of on us for missing that. Like I said, it was very clear in the contract. I was supposed to try to work through what the changes need to be there. That was what my focus was, not so much on who's billing for what is under that contract. But if there, I guess, Andrew's, I guess to Director Logan's point, when our operator buys stuff, how is that billed? I guess, because we focused on the operational functions of how he responds to requests. Well, but I think this is worth discussing because it's a very important contract. We were assigned to the subcommittee to look at this, and I want to make sure you get a full vetting. So I guess, Andrew, you're saying, how does that go?
I'll have to look at the GM contract versus the operational contracts, but anybody at Crossroads that buys materials, they go to Lowe's, they buy trash bags. A maintenance department person and operator, that's gonna have a markup to it. Now, if Lisa orders it through y'all's credit card, different thing. We have no guidance on what you want us to do. We do what's most efficient. In many cases, we order things through Lisa. She's aware of it. She handles it. Sometimes it's more efficient for these guys they're at Lowe's, they buy, we have an account, it's done. So if that needs to be clarified, that can be.
Do we have a most cost-efficient purchasing method mandate in this contract, Tom? I feel like that'd be the simplest solution,
What is the
right? Like,
markup?
hold on, I just,
10%.
10%.
I just said that.
Okay, so.
yeah, but
I don't think so.
And can you run the numbers?
Wait,
Because
can we
it's
stop?
very-
I'm gonna call order for a second.
just, hold on.
we
I
definitely
wanna
wanna hear your question.
I wanna, sorry, I was in the middle, I wanna.
Shamika was asking
So
questions.
Sean, I asked Sean, like, is there a provision in the contract requiring Crossroads, whether it's through Lisa or Travis or anybody, to purchase via the most cost-efficient method? I know, I've seen other contracts, other government entities that have provisions about you shall, when you're purchasing, make sure you use the most cost-efficient method.
I don't think so, because I think it's kind of, not to belabor the time we're spending here, but if you think about these contracts chronologically, right?
Mhm.
This was originally just an operations contract, right? And then Park Sky was added in, then we added a GM contract, then we expanded the GM contract. So one thing kind of built off of another here.
Then we separated the GM contract. It was all one.
Right, it was
That's right.
all one.
Yeah, you're right. But would be like, when you have the operations contract, these guys are always gonna just go do what they need to do in order to procure what they can procure, and that's why there is the markup there. And I, probably, and so that wouldn't be contemplated in that context, so I don't think we would have ever added such a provision specifically for parks.
But all these, I mean, even generally, that might be a good reason.
I'll just say by moving it, we'll have to redefine all the pricing, because the pricing is, the parks test
Just leave it.
is priced in the operations fee, not in the GM fee.
Right, okay, so I wanna do this officially, I want everybody to hear everybody, so I'm gonna start with Director Roberts and go around. So Director Roberts.
We're worried about copies and the cost of copies and the newsletter print, and, we're sticking per diems and costing the district money, and here we are gonna haggle over something that's one contract. It really is. It's one company and it's just separated out. Like he said, at one point, the GM was all in here. The parks has always been underneath here. We didn't add it. It's been here. And it's worked very well. So I don't understand what's going on, that it's not working so well anymore. And those are the points I'd like to hear. And if it's a markup, all he needs is a directive, it's like, hey, let's order that under the credit card, that can't be hard to communicate. And I think that's what your point was in our subcommittee meeting, was like, we just need to improve our communication channels. And, and if there's something going on, tit for tat between Ben and Lisa, then we need that fixed. Because
I'm not aware of any of that. I think at times there have been misdirection on, well, I thought they wanted me to do this, but you want me to do this.
Right.
And that's our problem to work out as a team, as a Crossroads team. I don't think that's a big deal,
yeah,
but, because we're trying to effectively service and get the issue done. But, since he's under our operations department, all of his time off requests, his truck maintenance, or his uniforms, like all that goes through our regular processes through his hierarchy structure, because he's in that department. So if we made this change, I'd probably pull him out, and that would be a responsibility of the GM under that agreement.
they're got their hands full already, just
And
time
it's an internal thing
consuming,
for us.
yeah.
I'm just saying,
So-
we would separate it out. We can restructure the pricing, and then, propose
So
it.
and the point with David Shoemaker and I made was, after we thought about this, because I don't think the markup is really costing the district that much money. I think it was the cost of rewriting a contract. Just, let's leave it alone till the renewal, then take it and bring it, if there's gonna be an incorporation. Maybe we can pull the GM back into the Crossroads contract, I mean, we could look at doing things like that. And that, to me, is more efficiency and being a lot more prudent with the taxpayers' money, is to not go spend it when everything is okay now. And if it's communication, that's an easy fix.
Okay, can we, Director Young, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of leaving confusing contracts for our successors or, the next session when, we're elected or not. I'd like to get it ironed out, let's figure out what we want to do, what the end goal is. Let's work towards that in the now, so that when the next people look at the contract or whatever, it's done. Now, if we defer this for 2 years, and it remains confusing and it's not really clear, we defer it for 2 years, we may not be getting back to that. We may have other priorities and such. So I like fixing things right the first time. If we do it right this time, then in 2 years, we don't have to do it again. We just change the dates and re-sign it. So I think we should be going for a contract that we all can agree is good for the long term.
Okay.
And Robert,
Well,
I'm just gonna
no,
interject.
no, no,
Hang on,
no.
let me do this.
No.
So,
Cecilia, please, I'm
let
calling
me
order.
finish.
No,
I
you're
wanna
out
add
of
one
order.
thing.
You're out of order.
No, I'm not. So.
You're
the-
out of order.
We have
Help
fixed
me.
it many times, Robert.
Please.
We have
Okay.
fixed this contract many,
10-minute
many times.
recess. Can I, a motion, 10-minute recess?
No, you don't need to take a
Yeah,
recess.
I'll make a motion, we need to calm down. I'll second the
Okay,
motion.
thank you.
Take a
All
minute.
right, leaving the room, no more discussion because it's a walking
No, we
forum.
need to.
Yep, nope.
So we'll wait for Director Roberts, I want to make a quick
Go
comment.
around a few
Well,
times.
no.
Well, I'd ask,
Okay,
I'd asked Director Logan, when we were outside, if I could make a quick personal privilege point, off the agenda, but not off, but not about business, about decorum briefly.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Is that all right, Sean?
Yeah.
Better hearing him from him than me.
But we'll wait for Director Roberts to come back.
It is freezing outside.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did it get
We're
cold
both
all of a
shaking, talking to each other.
I thought it's been cold all evening.
Maybe a little.
Okay.
I was actually getting cold before we went
I'm
outside.
we're getting close to being done,
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But we can wait a minute for Director Roberts, I just wanted to make a.
I was hoping the rain would already finish.
I know, I thought it was gonna be done by now. I'm looking at Andrew's vest, it looks really warm.
I feel great, so.
Okay. All right, Director Roberts is back. We are back, and I am turning the,
Sure, I'd like to make a quick ask for recognition real quick. So I want to make a quick comment about order in the meetings. You know, I'm vice chair here, I'm here to help Director Logan maintain order. I think that these meetings run better when we all take time to work in order. Yes, some of us have long questions. I know I have long questions, but at the same time, I also try to make sure I'm respectful to all other board members when they're asking questions to give them their time. And I think that continuing to maintain order, and when we're each speaking and holding our questions until it is our turn or until the other person yields, will make the meetings flow more smoothly. So I would, just as vice chair, right, I would like to ask everyone to continue to try to maintain decorum in these meetings. I think they go more smoothly, we have a long agenda. I apologize if you feel like I'm belaboring points, but I want to work through these things. These are all complicated issues, we're here for this. But, so that is my request for all of us on the board here, is to continue to maintain decorum, so you don't have to adjourn, take breaks, cool off. I think we can keep moving if we all are patient. Thank you.
okay, thank you, Director Shoemaker. Okay, so Director Young, you're finishing up. Can you please restate, not your whole thing, just the,
No, I finished saying what I was going to say, but
Okay.
there were some other comments that I'd like to add to or whatever.
okay,
but I'll wait for my
we'll
turn.
go back,
Wait for my
right?
turn.
Okay, okay. So here's my thought, I'm probably throwing a monkey wrench in this. We are missing one of our directors, Director Johnson. And I do want to know his input on this. And this could come down to, if we voted, it could come down to 2-2, it could come down to 4-0, it could come down, you know, whatever. But if it came down to 2-2, we would basically have to put it on the agenda for next month anyways, because that doesn't, it's not a majority, right? So how do you all feel about pausing and putting this on the agenda for next month? I've already stated some of my points, which Director Roberts, you know, did acknowledge the cost of it. And I see her point on the cost of Sean's time, but there's other stuff which was really matching our practice versus what the contract says. And that's really a sticking point with me, like even with our policies, matching what we're truly doing with what our policy is. So before we go into this anymore, does anybody have an objection for pausing and putting this on the agenda for next month so Director Johnson can get up to speed and weigh in on this?
No objections.
No objection, I'll go on behalf of the Services Subcommittee. could we ask when this comes back for Sean to give us a quick summary of what his cost would be to update?
3 to 5 hours.
Yeah, but it just, it's a number to put in. Then also I'd like to direct Lisa and Andrew to please, because you mentioned that who they buy from varies, right? It would be helpful to have an idea of what our operator is buying through Crossroads you could purchase through the GM. If that is feasible, to give us even a ballpark. Thank you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, fine with pending.
Okay, so Director Roberts spoke, Director Young, do you have an issue with us pausing?
No, we're gonna pause, then we can continue
Yeah.
next.
I do want to add, guys, that if you wanted to go back to your old packets, Crossroads itemizes everything, so you can see everything that's been purchased and the upcharge, and so it's pretty, I mean, I've done that a couple times, I don't do it every month, but you can see that, okay? All right, good deal, then we're gonna go ahead and move on to item, do we have anything else with you, Andrew?
So, yeah, let me talk about F and G together.
Okay.
So Ben put a couple of proposals in your packet from Hydro Pro Solutions for purchasing meters. We are out of meters in your booster station, we just have a handful. So if you would like us to begin the process of replacing the 200 meters, we need to order more meters, and historically we have ordered those without markup, and then we leave the pallet of them in the booster station, and then we have our folks pulling from them, or subcontractor. So he has actually a 200 quantity bid and then a 100 quantity bid, I think, in your packet, so it's got the two options. Looking at your budget line item though, you have $25,000, so that if we wanted to put that in, you would want to probably go with 150 meters, which is the maximum. So we don't have a bid for that, but that would be $12,990 for 150 master meter direct read meters. And then he has a separate quote about the cost to install them, but I'd like to bring this back because I do want to talk about the management piece with this company. I'm looking at this, the 2,800 and 2,500. I think we can work on that and bring it back to you.
Which one are you talking about?
Sorry,
The Hydro
where is
Pro?
the Hydro Pro? Yeah, do you have the 24,300 in your?
Uh-huh, we do.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that is their
There's 200.
cost to
there's two
install.
bids.
Yeah, so that's their cost to install, which is the same as our cost to install, which is baked into our operations agreement. So we would pass them through, of course, at no markup. But they have an additional $10 in there, if you read that line item, for the TCQ lead line inventory. What that is when they're replacing that meter, we're gonna give them a form, and they're gonna fill out the pipe material of that house and that house line, and on what's on our side. And we will use that for our survey that our team is working on right now. So I'd like to bring this back, because I want to do that, but if y'all are okay, I'd like to order the meters. If y'all are okay with that, I don't have a physical, or I can bring back if you want to see the 150 on paper. It's kind of a mix, because there's 100 and 200.
Same unit price for that.
Same unit price, it's just, it'd be $12,990. So we'll order the meters, have them at the booster station ready, then next month we'll bring back a proposal, a little tighter proposal, and say, here's the installation costs.
So the proposal you've got, I'm gonna make a motion, is 100 meters for $86.60 a piece. Correct?
But I think you're
Well,
suggesting
so-
150,
Well,
right?
so we could do that, but you have the budget to 150.
I'm
So
sorry.
you're saying that
So
you're
see on the
gonna-
back of that one, there's the same quote for 200, so,
And he's just saying need to have, to do
Oh, it's
150.
behind this.
yeah, it's a little.
Yeah, it took me a minute to find it too, but it's right there, so that's what he's talking about.
Okay,
There's
gotcha.
some of those.
Yeah, so if y'all are fine, it's more of maybe a
Thank you.
directives, because you don't really have a.
Yeah, so you're suggesting ordering 150 meters at $85, which would be $12,750. So is the board okay directing him to proceed with the purchase?
So it's 8660, just.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's what I'm looking at.
Oh, I have my
That's why
glasses
I'm
on and I can't
confused.
even.
Yeah, it's 12,990.
So is it quote number 100-607?
There's not a quote in
There's
here.
not a quote.
He's wanting to propose a new quote that's not in our packet.
Okay.
He has a 200 and he has a 100, and we're
And
trying to do
150 at
150.
$12,750.
So that will give us room to install it.
All right, then I make a motion and we can ratify it at the next meeting if we.
We're just gonna direct him. I was just
Okay.
asking you all if you're comfortable directing him with that. My one question is two questions. can they be stored for a while with no issues? And then two, I see that you have a proposal for installation. I know, I think Director Roberts mentioned in the past, you guys have had some issues with just like manpower. So will there be any of that?
So we have manpower to do kind of 10, 20 at a time, that's kind of what we're able to do. When we do larger scale ones, it's way more efficient to hire a subcontractor to do it. We make a little door tag, we put a magnet on the side of their vehicle, contractor on working on behalf of Crossroads, and they actually go out and complete it a lot quicker than we can. I wanted to make sure the price is the same.
Yeah.
Which is, this is pretty much going rate. I mean, we're not getting much less than 85, and there's 2 or 3 vendors that we're using right now. So
Okay.
that's why we would bring one in versus our people doing it.
Okay, so you've been directed to go ahead and buy the meters, and then come back with the new proposal for installation, and then I think we'll talk about just making sure the communication's out there with residents, and I would like to see, can you give us a map of the 150 meters that you'll be replacing?
Yeah, we have a list.
Okay.
List, or you want a map? Because it's gonna be, we can do a
Well,
geolocation.
whatever's easy, I'm just kind of curious, is it gonna be all like, probably like, Cecilia's section is one of the older ones, so I would think they're meters, or,
I'll look, I think it
I think mine's been
varies.
changed.
I think it varies.
well, then maybe a lot. I'm just kind of curious where the
Yeah.
pockets are, and maybe they're the pool, or, you know, okay.
I'll send you that.
Okay, great, thank you, anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Andrew.
Directive's good.
Yeah, do you want me to stay for the last 27, 20, 20?
Well, I think, I think we can consider 20, I mean, all we talked about in 27 was the,
Yeah, you don't need to do 27, 28, I don't think you need to stay for.
Do you want to wait till Dr. Johnson's here?
For,
Sorry, 37.
The reviews?
yes. Yeah, so here's my thoughts, and I want input from the other directors. I love that you're here, Andrew, it'd be a great time to review, Lisa. But I do wanna have Director Johnson, I did talk to him today, he gave me some input, but I think it'd be good, for him to be here. You're gonna get the feedback anyways, are you okay with us reviewing her next month?
Yeah.
Okay, and I talked to Lisa about it, and you're okay with that. I just think when we review, all directors should be here.
Totally understand.
Maybe his finger will be fixed by then. Okay, then you're good to go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, 24, report from BG&E.
There is a memo in the packet from BG&E. We currently are on track, and will be receiving their final, they're roughly about 90% done at the end of January. In February, we will have some training that we actually will bring in Crossroads and possibly even Priority Landscape to assist with. They are currently working and gathering information from David Gray's group to add the fencing 3-mile loop to the asset management app, so that we're able to upload all of the current proposals that have been approved for fencing that have been repaired, and then hopefully any new repairs will also add that as well. They're working on adding the pools, so that way all of the repairs that are being done at both the pools, they have received the inspections for all of the playscapes, so they'll be uploading all of the playscape information as well. So we are actually getting it finished and lined out. And I know Director Roberts, last month you mentioned how long is it gonna take. In their contract, it actually does read that it would take them roughly 10 months, and they are within line to finish this project on time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good, okay. Good deal, thank you. Let me scroll back up to the agenda. So yes. So next is
TDS, item 25.
TDS, that the report's in our packet. I don't think we have any questions on that.
Listen to Al.
And then, report from services subcommittee, I think you guys already did that. Do you have anything else?
No.
Okay, general manager report.
My report's in the packet. I don't have anything else to add. We've gone through all the items that needed approval today.
Okay, great. 29, Walker House alarm system.
So that actually is gonna be wrapped up into our executive
Okay,
session.
then we'll hold on that. Legal. Sean, you're up.
Alrighty, well, the first thing I've got under my legal report here is MSRB Rule G10. I will often go through this if the financial advisor isn't in attendance, but as we have Ms. Lauren here, if you'd like to present your letter, that'd be great.
It's super simple. These are just our annual disclosures that we're required to provide every district we work with. G10 lets you know that we remain registered with the NSRB and are in compliance with all rules and regulations under the NSRB and SEC. Rule G42 talks about conflicts of interest, and Public Finance Group and its associates do not have any conflicts of interest that would impede our ability to continue to serve the district as your financial advisor. And the last page, page 3, is just giving you a quick view of districts that we're currently working with.
A lot.
There are several that are in process that haven't made the list yet. So, but I am happy to answer any questions y'all might have about those disclosures. But you don't have to take action on that. That's on us. You're aware that we remain in compliance.
Okay, great. Does anybody have a question? Okay, wonderful, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, 32, review of district insurance coverage.
Yeah, so we've got your GML policy in here, and I was thinking, we would just sit here and go through line by line every single thing we insure, and just kind of talk about it.
Conservatively.
A nice conservative discussion about it. No, so this is more a reminder for myself and the other consultants. I will get with David. I think for a long time, unfortunately, not your mind in particular, but sometimes you would wrap up coverage on something, and then the insurable amount was never adjusted, then all of a sudden you gotta make a claim and you're being reimbursed half of what it actually cost to replace it. So this is an effort to make sure, and I know we have revisited these since I've been representing you guys. I don't know that we've done it every year, but David and I will probably get with Lisa and take a look at it. Not only to make sure that all the insurable amounts are correct, but also make sure that we've got everything covered that we need to be covering.
Okay.
I got a quick question, if it's allowed. I noticed there was some workers' comp stuff in there.
Yep.
And then I was thinking, we don't really have any employees. Deputies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
When they're on duty.
Yeah.
Oh, the deputies. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're actually,
That's a good question.
Are they not covered by Williamson County Sheriff's Department?
Not when they're working for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That clarifies that.
yeah,
I didn't.
good catch.
And I do have a
Mhm.
question on fine arts schedule. What is the pine truck?
Mhm. That's exactly why we need to review this.
Yes, it's on
Um,
Yeah,
page.
there was a lot of stuff in there.
Page,
It's
it's page 101.
One,
Hold on, I was flipping through there, I was looking.
there's a lot of one-on-ones.
Within the fine truck, $500?
What would that be? That wouldn't be our little,
No, that's actually listed on the next page, actually. There's even a fine table.
What's
so you're gonna go through this with Lisa, and so you guys let us know what you strike out.
Yeah, just maybe it was supposed to be like pine trunk.
But then it's
I bet
pine
it's
trunk.
pine trunk, it's that trunk.
And then,
What do you mean?
There's
Yeah,
that
that
little
is
sure.
wooden box.
yeah, because you have.
It looks like we're about right amount
Yeah.
with
With
furniture.
chairs.
Oh, then how
So
about
just
right
get
that?
to clean that up.
Good catch.
I'd like to drop all that furniture stuff and start preparing for all the wonderful lumber stuff that's gonna be replacing it.
I didn't even realize, okay, all right, yeah, okay, you guys will clean that up. Can we, do we have any other questions?
Is there anything like that we definitely wanna keep insured that's not, I mean, like, some of these furniture things are,
Keep it.
We'll have to go through that.
What's funny is, I'm thinking about that is like, it's interesting, this is a fine, I mean, legal, I get
Fine
right.
arts.
But it's more like, it's function, it's the furniture, if the building burns down, we gotta
Yeah.
have contents on the furniture, but I just think it's funny they're
Fine
called
arts.
fine arts.
Fine
And
arts.
not furniture contents covered.
Where's the wooden duck at?
Okay, yeah, all right, so let's go ahead and move on. You guys will give us an update on that. So do you have to, vote or just
No direction,
acknowledge?
this is just as much for us as a reminder to do this and let y'all know that we're doing it. But by all means, if you see anything, any other pine trucks or anything else on there that you got questions about,
I
please
will,
feel free to
I'll
let us
notify
know.
you.
Okay,
You mind if I go down to 33?
no, yeah.
33 is an annual review item here. This is your confirmation of code of ethics. Review. Water code requires that you review a couple different state law things on an annual basis, and this is that. So the only, usually when we review this, the only thing we're letting you know that we're doing is we're changing the list of brokers that are at the end. Those are actually just the financial institutions that can hold your funds under the Public Funds Investment Act. It is required under the Public Funds Investment Act that you do review that on an annual basis to make sure you know the universe of the banks you can work with. This year, in addition to that, I believe, well, actually, I'm sorry, we have already taken care of your per diem. We, most districts right now, we're coming back to update the per diem provision, but we did that for you guys already. So here, this is
Can
just,
we change that to maybe $100 per subcommittee instead of the $200?
We just changed it to match,
But can we change it again?
if you want to, but we just changed it to match so it was consistent.
I mean, because that way then, because I feel like $200 for a subcommittee is a lot.
But we just had this discussion like
Yeah,
3
I know,
months ago.
I was just thinking, you know, maybe we could change it.
But it doesn't adjust what your ultimate limit is.
The people that are getting the per diems are gonna cap anyway, just get it sooner.
But if you want to put that on the agenda for next month, we can.
I mean, it just, to me, that's the way it used to be. We took less for that.
But we just had this discussion, we all voted and agreed to move it to match.
I'm just bringing it back up.
Okay, talk to Lisa or Denise if you want to add that to the agenda.
Okay.
we do need just a motion to approve the resolution that confirms you've done.
Okay, motion to approve,
Motion.
second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, we want to remind, I think we have to have 2 hours a year of ethics training. I do want to make sure everybody does that, and I will make sure, I'm gonna have, does Denise keep track of that?
We certainly can keep track of it.
Yeah, so it's a new year, let's just make sure everybody did 2 hours of ethics training last year, and we all work in corporate, I'm sure we all have tons of
I have
ethics
mine.
training.
So documenting it is one thing, and submitting it, but the conference last year should have easily done that. I mean,
Was there an
work for-
ethics course?
they were talking about ethics
Okay.
during
Yeah.
that, and then there was also one of the Wells Branch ones or whatever, but, yeah, I mean, I essentially work for 2 companies, so I'm doing ethics with both of them, but like, how are we to
Well,
submit and say, hey,
That's a
we
good
did it?
question, and I think we should, whenever I do mine, I send it over to Denise and Sean and let them know. I completed this, 2 hours, da. So just please make sure you guys get that in for last year.
Doesn't Denise have a link for the TCEQers? I mean, somebody's got a link. I know I have to take it through my company. We're required. by
Yeah,
my
we all,
boss.
if you work for any corporation, you have to take it, but it wouldn't be, what I take isn't necessarily Denise doesn't have a link to.
But I thought there was a link.
No, there's all kinds of ethic classes.
Well,
I'm saying that
so
Denise
the-
would send one out, is what I thought.
Oh,
Are you thinking of
courses?
not open meetings, I can't think.
Whatever it is, it doesn't
Secretary
matter.
of State.
It's the one about like
There's
the
no
gifts and,
There's no exact training, but that.
but there's another one that's about like who you can accept as the gifts and that kind of stuff.
Gifts and entertainment, yeah.
Yeah, I can't
Just-
think of the name of it right now, so well.
If Denise has a link, let her send out to everybody, I think we're all covered, but please
Okay.
just send, so it's proof that you've taken it. Okay, let's move on.
Wait, we
vote.
have an outstanding motion.
You gotta vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Okay, 34, resolution confirming annual review of written procedures for post-bond insurance, federal tax compliance.
33 is what I would call like your state law review, annual review of consideration. 34 is more federal laws that pertains to issuing bonds. These are post-bond issuance compliance issues that you probably adopted maybe in the early 80s or so. I'm sure they've changed since then, have corresponded with your bond counsel. They don't recommend any changes. In some, these are procedures that you have in place just in case there were ever any questions from federal regulators about your bond procedures. First, you would say that you have great folks like Lauren's group and folks on McCall Parkhurst representing you on all these things. Then you'd say, we've been following all the procedures, and oh, by the way, we review the procedures on an annual basis just to make sure that they still look good. McCall Parkhurst has confirmed that they don't have any changes for you to recommend, and so I would recommend adoption of the resolution confirming the annual review without change.
Okay, do I have a second?
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 35, park bond considerations, I don't think we have anything, because we're gonna cover that in the.
We talk about the parkland considerations, and so nothing else here. We'll probably keep this as a placeholder just for a general discussion matter until we get everything
Okay, good deal.
cinched up.
Okay, we'll hold off on 36 since Johnson isn't here,
Yeah,
he was supposed to do something.
You left us hanging.
God, that finger. Number 37 is on hold. I don't think we have a 38 or 39. 40. Can you guys look at your contract? Can you look at your calendar and see if you're available on February 8th for a special meeting? It will literally be like a.
That's a Thursday.
There's a reason we're asking for the 8th. I was gonna say it's gonna be a 5-minute meeting, but we've added some of the pool stuff, so it'd probably be a half hour to 45-minute meeting. The park bond approval thing will take 5 minutes, and then honestly, maybe the pool proposals may not even take that long, so it will be a very short meeting. Also, what I wanna throw out there is we were looking at a 5 o'clock start time. Is that tough?
I'm not in favor of
What?
making it earlier than the normal, just like somebody's interested in it, you know, I wanna do it after working hours, not
Okay.
so somebody
You
has to
can't do
take off.
6:30, can you? Sean, you can't do
I
6:30?
can't, yeah, and I have to be in this area of town that day, so it could save some money, for you guys, but at the same time, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Well, I mean, I guess I worry about 5 as a start, like
Yeah.
6 or 5:30, I feel like, but.
Can we do 5:30 if you're out of here by 6? Is that?
I need to be at another meeting that night by 6. so
Oh,
that would
okay.
be a challenge.
Okay,
But I just said that if it
I'm fine
worked,
with
it worked.
5.
If we gotta get it done, I guess we can do.
So why can't we meet on Wednesday?
because he's gonna be here on Thursday anyway, so it was a savings, and he's
Yeah.
over here for another meeting.
Thank you.
But,
Yeah.
at the same time.
Thanks, it's a good catch.
Make sure that gets
Director
minutes
Longo,
here.
it's a good catch.
But,
We hope to.
yeah.
We hope to.
I mean, let's also see what, since Director Johnson's not here,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, will you check
'Cause
with
we
the
just-
board and see if anybody can make 5 on the 8th, and then if not, we'll try to do 6:30 on the 7th.
I'm putting on my calendar for 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it down, like, it should be okay, but I just wanted to Robert, like.
It is different, and I get what Director Young is saying, yeah,
You never know when we're gonna hit a speed bump and
yeah.
discussion slows down and.
That's true.
Yeah, but I think it is gonna be pretty quick.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what Sean thought too. Okay, great, so I think that's the only future board meeting discussion we need. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Wait,
We
do
actually need to
We have an
discuss one item.
executive.
we, the
Okay,
executive on,
The security.
which item is it? It's a 20.
well, 29A,
Yeah, it's 29A.
Isn't
and,
there
25, I thought.
It's also 12.
20.
12.
12, yeah,
12,
12 and
12,
29.
that's what it was.
okay, so we're gonna go into executive session, for 12 and 29A.
Can we stay here and ask him to go to the back? Since it's
Yeah, that's
the last one?
Yeah.
That way then we don't have to go.
And I think this is fairly quick.
We're back, we're out of executive session, no decisions were made. The board is gonna direct, the GM to pursue more information on the cameras. How's that? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Oh, that would be whoever.
That's.
Is someone seconding me, or?
Did you make the motion?
Yes,
Yes. Okay, all in favor?
Aye, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.